Hello there. I hope your day is going marvelously. Thank you for being part of the podcast Patreon. This here is a bonus episode that is comprised of outtakes and edits from this month's RT Rewind episodes. Some of this is content that I cut for length, or we went too far off into a tangent, or we ended up revisiting the topic later, so I cut it the first time we talked about it. But we have 4 sections here. The first section is about how few historical romances are being published right now, especially from lines like Avon. And we're talking about some new books from Bramble that are gorgeous. In the next section, Amanda is discussing how much she dislikes the house style of writing the review and then providing the summary in the magazine. In the third clip, Amanda and I are talking about whispers in the reading room and why aren't there more covers printed in RT, even in the later issues. And then in the final section, we talk about something that I very rarely mention. And again, you'll notice this is going to be behind a paywall. We're going to talk a little bit about Cassie Edwards. I have an entire issue of RT Magazine celebrating one of her books, celebrating her career, and it comes with a quiz. Hold on to your butt about how well you know your savages. If you're not familiar with Cassie Edwards' work, nearly all of them were savage something. They're very much indigenous fetish romances, what I would call them. It's a lot of cringe on my end. So anyway, I mentioned that I'm really not sure how I want to address this magazine issue if we talk about it at all. I'm still not sure what to do with this issue. I'll put a picture in the Patreon so you can see which issue I'm talking about. I'm very open to your suggestions because on one hand, ignominy is a great response to some things, and I have skipped over other sections of RT because I didn't want to talk about them. But on the other hand, indigenous fetish romances were totally a thing and were extremely popular. And part of looking at the history of romance means looking at stuff like that and going, yeah, ooh, cringe, but why? Why was this important? So I'm curious about your opinion. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do, but I would be interested in your input. I will also link to the books that we talked about and wait until you see the cover of the book that we talk about from Bramble because it's gorgeous. Anyway, thank you so much for being part of the Patreon. I hope you enjoy this little outtake clip show and have a wonderful day.
I don't know if it's due to staffing issues because I know some of their staff got cut and they just can't handle the breadth that they were publishing before, or if it's just a consumer issue of like right now what's popular are those contemporaries and, you know, fantasy romances. That's not the focus of the average buyer, quote unquote.
Yes. 2 things. One, I remember that Avon was trying to put some of their reprint historicals into trade, and I only saw like 2 before they stopped. So I wonder if that did not work in terms of...
Oh, so they're not doing it anymore. I know Sarah McLean was getting a trade.
And Tessa Dare got a trade, but I haven't seen any others. Now, that said, they might have released and I didn't know it. The other thing is, have you seen the print books that Bramble is releasing next year? There's one, I think, called the Spell House. It has lavender sprayed edges in the hardcover, and the front is gorgeous. Like, the art is beautiful. I
feel like this is a deep dive topic for a whole nother episode. And I feel like we've talked about...
I think it's the Spell House. I'm going to have to look it up now.
Yeah, the collectability.
Oh, yes.
From YA hardcover and how, like, you know, I was like, wow, I really would love if romance got these really cool special editions. And I still stand by that, getting really cool special editions. But the average romance reader is very budget friendly. And a lot of our, like, comments sometimes are on, like, I'm not paying $10.99 for an ebook. That's ludicrous. Or, like, I'm going to wait for it to come out in paperback. Like, very budget conscious readers just because they read so much. So I definitely think these editions will appeal to a certain type of reader.
But not all of them.
But not like the romance community at large, if you will.
Yeah. I am going to share with you a picture. I was wrong. It's not the Spell House. It is the Spellshop. I was close, close enough to figure it out. I will share a picture.
I'm waiting.
So look how beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's got this beautiful, lush illustration of this like cottage lit from like the
It gives
side.
me like Shire, Lord of the Rings vibes.
Yes. And apparently there's a sentient spider plant in this book.
Sarah Beth Durst is really great when it comes to like crafting pretty cool fantasy worlds.
But they're investing for a brand new line. They're investing in a hardcover with lavender sprayed edges, like all of this sprayed edges stuff, like making these into collector items seems to be where the budget is going, which is really interesting to me.
I hope it pays off because these are beautiful and I'd like
They're gorgeous.
to see
They're gorgeous.
Readers support it.
I think we could definitely do an issue and talk about what print is doing, especially with the magazine. I think it's Saveur coming back in print twice a year. I think that's so cool. All right, so we should probably talk about these reviews.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, everybody. I can edit that out if I have to.
I do not think I like the layout of critique first, then summary. Because I will read a summary first to know if the setting and kind of tropes that I'm picking up from the description are even something that I care about.
For sure.
So the summary to me is more important than the actual review, and I think would add more context to the review text if it were first.
Oh, that's a good point. We most often read them in the episodes starting with the summary. Like both of us were reading the summary first for this one.
And when I write a review, like when personally, I will make like a very rough outline in a Google Doc of intro text of like, why did I pick this up? Why was it interesting to me? And then summary right after the intro text of like, what is this book about? And then I'll break down like my further thoughts of like, I want to mention this, I want to mention that, blah, 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 outro. So it's just a weird organization for me to just have review without context of the book first.
Yeah, I agree. Because how are you going to know what isn't working if you don't know what's happening in the book first? I agree. You are right, though, that is truly a beautiful cover.
I liked it. I thought it was definitely caught my eye. And I was like, okay, I'm going to read the review for this because the cover is interesting.
Yeah. And like we've said, when I go through, while I'm editing the episode, I pause and I, grab a screen grab of the review itself if I want to include the text. And then I go take a picture of the cover so I can put it in the entry. And sometimes I'm like, oh, hold on. That is not what I expected that to look like. So many of these have no cover reference. And it's weird because there are at least 3 colors on the pages for the reviews. There's the sidebar in the top is a color because each section is color coded. The author name or the title is color coded to go with the section color. And then top pick and top pick gold is 2 more colors. So there is color here. Why not print the cover? Was that just too much? Or is this so far in advance? The space probably, but also this is so far in advance that these go to press. Maybe the cover wasn't ready yet.
It's possible. The cover wasn't ready yet. I think space is an issue. Printing in more color is expensive if they're printing the covers in a full color.
That's true.
So my guess is like it's a money issue. Like you'd rather the space go towards paying ads than just showing a cover.
For sure. But I am super excited. And then at some point, we have to figure out what to do with the issue where there is a How Well Do You Know Cassie Edwards Savage series. And it's so...
Can we just live stream lighting it on fire? Can we do that one?
Oh my God. I don't even know if I want to platform the content. It's so racist. It's so bad.
It's awful.
But at the same time, the questions are just like, what even is this? It's savage garden, savage this, savage that. I was like, what is happening?
This might be too out there. And I don't know if people would care about it. Like, could we like auction it off and proceeds go to some like indigenous organization?
Oh, we could.
Or something.
Oh, man.
But I don't know who would want to buy that. That's the thing.
Right? Or like make it a live show. I want to know why Smart Bitches Trashy Books doesn't have a Wikipedia page. That's what I want to know. Just thinking
you can write one.
I'm sure it'd be taken down instantly. I cannot tell if Cassie Edwards is still alive. I have not mentioned her in many years because she is in very poor health. I believe she had a stroke. She has a heart problem. The last I heard, she was in very, very poor health. And that seemed really shitty for me to, talk about it because we kind of know This was not okay. None of this fetishizing of Indigenous Americans was okay, no matter who was doing it. Wow, that issue is a time capsule.
We're on her We're on her.
Mm-hmm. But it's a link to the site. It's not a page. Yeah, it's not a page. It's a link to the site.
CassieEdwards.com is no longer in use. It's for sale.
Well, I should buy it.
And then just put a link to have a redirect.
Jesus Lord, they want to sell a squad help wants to sell it for $2,500. Please, I didn't pay that much for smartbitches.com, and I stalked a porn star for 2 years for that.
So Cassie Edwards was last published in 2009.
Yeah. It's a while. I mean, she may no longer be with us.
Oh, wait. I think she died.
Oh no.
I'm looking. She died in 2016 at the age of 79. I'll send you the link to it. It's from the blog Sweet Savage Flame.
Oh dear God. All right, so here we go. That's her.
That's her headstone.
That's her headstone. It's got a picture of it on her. She passed away just January 4th, 2016 at the age of 79. May she rest. I'm feeling a little bit better about talking about this issue then. Various efforts were made to obtain some of Edwards' profit from allegedly unlawful activities, but Harlequins. Oh shit, I didn't know any of this. Holy balls. Most of the original work were over 100 years old. Some were more contemporary. Signet defended her. Later, they dropped her. Didn't know she had to credit sources for her material, even though she lifted it word for word, for fuck's sake. Harlequin Enterprises, one of her publishers, eventually settled out of court with a couple authors whose work she had copied and paraphrased without credit. They suspended publication of her books and discontinued all marketing. They had to... This is wild. Okay, well, I'm really glad to know that maybe we should do a charity live stream event. Indigenous education or something. Holy shit.
Yep.
Wow. We're looking at a racist magazine. Strap in, everybody. Oh my God, I got that issue too. It is wild.